Hey, you guys, welcome back to another episode of Nomad Podcast, coming at you every Monday morning, hopefully. Still keeping it on track. I'm your host, Jorge Flores. And if you want to reach out to the podcast, that's on Twitter at NO underscore MODS009, or you can reach out to me on Instagram at adept underscore apron. I tend to post a lot more food stuff there, and you can see some of the stuff I've already made. I tend to mostly post stories, but I should probably start posting recipes because I have a bad habit of kind of cooking and forgetting to write stuff down just because it's mostly like by instinct, I guess you can say. I don't know. But I was going to touch on the fact that the reason I have two and I keep them separate is because I've noticed that each platform has like its own audience of people that want to like approach it. Like, I've noticed Twitter's more of a, how do I say, like, oh, I'm going to go check this place out. Like, what do you guys recommend? And meanwhile, Instagram is more like flexing like local spots or like your own brand. My bad. I kind of made a spicy peanut curry, which I'll share the recipe later. I'm still kind of feeling it. Um, so bear with me a little bit. Este, I'll laugh at myself a lot in case you haven't noticed. What was I gonna say? And then I've noticed TikTok has slowly switched over to more of a platform that like it'll teach you how to cook and how to make like healthier options, which is hard to describe because and I'm not gonna share any names in case there's any copyright issues, but there's a handful of people that do catch my attention, and then like as far as like, oh, that recipe seems good, and then there's a handful of people that are willing to try foods even though they don't know what they're gonna get out of it, which is hard to explain. But like, I'll look into the rules and community guidelines just to double check that I can say their names or not, because if I can shout them out, that'd be dope. Or I can reach out to them and I can plug them. I can plug people, dog. I'm gonna write that down. Also, I found my fucking notebook. Uh, all right, dude. Damn. And if the phone was shaking, I do have a heavy hand when I write. So, but damn. But I mean, normally for food ideas, um, I tend to like find something I've never tried, like which is why I have like a weird fascination about curries, just for the fact that like there's as far as that what I've made both Thai and Indian curries, and it's crazy how similar yet distinctly different they are. And if I got into detail, I think mostly the Thai one is like a lot of lemongrass, or depending what you get, but usually ginger garlic is your base. And I've noticed Indian recipes tend to be more of heavily spiced one, and I kind of enjoy the heavily spiced one more, just because it has like more of a healthier digestive tract, which is funny because you hear a lot of people say like, "Oh fuck," but it's healing your gut, so that's probably why you're feeling a lot better after, you know. Um, and then on that note, the spicy peanut curry that I made was it's fucking good with some chicken, some rice, so basmati rice, and some like fresh veggies. The veggies was optional. I'm just trying to incorporate more vegetables into my diet. Damn, I'm kind of like stuttering today. Well, I am tired, but we'll get into that in a bit. But the curry, right? And we'll write this down together just so we can be on the same page. I did 3 cloves of garlic. I did about half a tablespoon of coriander seeds. I do that because I do like coriander seeds and I like the floral notes it has. And then I added 2 serranos or green chilies for the spice level, and I also added about like 5 dry chilies, which or the ones I used were chile de árbol, which is like a very typical one in Mexico. And then and then the peanuts, but I fried them a little bit or like toasted them, and then I ground them up. So I also mixed it in with the chicken. I also garnished it on top because like the peanuts were a good note, but like I knew they would get soggy once you were in the sauce. If you get what I mean. And then for the ground peanuts, the whatever was like really fine, I used that as a thickening agent for the curry, which was a fucking that was fucking smart. So back we got the chilies. Oh, for peanuts, I think it was about a cup. I did a half an onion, small dice. Uh, we'll do an episode. I might just do a tutorial of your knife cuts, just because it might help. I need to relearn a few things. You know, it doesn't hurt to practice. Then the half onion, and then cardamom. I go hard on cardamom, but I'd suggest if you got it ground, I would say like a teaspoon. If you have whole, I think you're good with one, just because it's more potent. Turmeric, I go pretty heavy. I'd suggest you do half a tablespoon. And then I did 2 cloves. And if you don't know how to make an Indian curry, or as far as my experience with it is, you kind of want to fry everything separately, or like fry all your seasonings, and then you you can mortar it if you got the time. You want to be patient with it. Turn it into a labor of love. But because I was experimenting, I was kind of like using the adrenaline to guide me, you know, like because I was fucking hungry, like I straight up not to like fucking flex about the gym, right? But I PR'd again. I went up for 2, and then I almost got it up, and then my arms gave out, and I had asked for help to re-rack the weights. I wasn't embarrassed. I was like, I almost had it. I'm happy about it. And then that was funny though. And then I did a bunch of workouts that I rarely do, so my body was was craving food. And then they also say like the best chef is like a hungry chef, because they're wanting food. There's the chase of new foods, and like in order to sate your cravings, you know. And I would say this definitely, even though spicy. So it was interesting because once you make it, it was layered peanut, like roasted peanut, all the spices, and then the chili peppers, and fuck, dude, fuck. Because you're saying, oh, and then you're thinking, right? Like, se te nota que estás pensando, pero but why would you add the green chilies and the dry chilies? Well, they both have 2 different heats. The green chilies have more of a zing, right? And then the chili peppers have more of a heat. So when you put them together, they stack. And then when you have the cardamom, it's like a warm heat. So it's like stairs. You would have to experience it. If you know, you know, and I'm happy you do. But damn, coming up with good ideas. Damn. Oh, well. I will have these moments where I be feeling myself a little too much. And if you don't know that song by Mac Dre, I would say you check it out. And then but yeah, which I started off pretty strong and still pretty early, right? Damn. I guess, well, that's good, because that's literally what just happened within the past few hours of my day. I mean, after this, I still need to do another workout, so. But we'll figure that one out. But first, let's finish, let me finish entertaining you guys, or being a little bit more of a podcast host, you know? Gotta put on the host ensemble, you know? But I'm having too much fun, my bad. Oh man. Oh, then it sucks because I just realized I am recording video and there's also audio, so it's gonna be a weirder audio than usual. Damn, I gotta remember that. Oh, then I gotta listen back in case, because I did realize oh, I can't be cursing the first 15 seconds on YouTube. But I think it's been pretty clean so far. I haven't said the F word or the S word or anything negative. Maybe damn, but you don't know what dam I'm talking about. It could be a river dam. And pero ¿qué iba a decir? Oh, then a few notes I wanted to talk about, just because I think I've lightly touched it on the, ¿cómo se dice? In the audio episodes, just because they're shorter. And I feel like I just touched on subjects, but I never really completed them. Like, I know first episode, first video episode, I did talk about what I do, a little bit of my background. But I guess I should share a little bit more of my inspirations behind creating this, why I got into cooking, so on and so forth. And and I think I did say that a few times in the audio episodes, but just to reiterate, it was how do I say it? As a chef, you go through a lot of mental, and I'm not gonna downgrade anybody. Anybody that works in the hospitality industry is highly stressed, and they're expected to be working at the highest degree of like capacity. And I would say that's pretty universal, no matter what industry or what level of restaurant. And I say that because the only thing that changes is the level of food and the level of service, right? That's the best way to explain it. And there was a phrase in the kitchen where it was very much like, wherever you go, it's kind of the same shit, different place. And uh, I don't agree, but when you're in a bad mood, it makes a lot more sense. But in this case, the difference is the higher you go, like in terms of like restaurants, the more knowledge, and that's basically your payoff for doing your hard work. Because you're not going to learn that much in Applebee's other than like puro chisme. Or I don't know. But like, um, how do I say it? But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to touch on that subject. Because I do have respect for those that aren't in fine dining. And I do respect those that are in extreme fine dining. And like, they both like just baffle me because somewhere like Applebee's, you tend to have two jobs and you're just cranking. And like, I don't get how people maintain that lifestyle. And then I've learned that a lot of the really high caliber fine dining are usually, there's very few employees and most of them are like interns or like volunteers. And like, that's how you meet your like, that's how you meet demands. I'm like, that's fucking wild that you're literally relying on free work. But then I started thinking about it, like that's kind of how like a lot of like apprenticeships uh, apprenticeships go, and a lot of like entry level, like if you want to do this, you got to do this type of stuff. So I get that, and like I've said last episode, I was very fortunate to start off like at a resort, and I kind of wanted to stay at resorts just because it was. I feel like there was always going to be like a level of business that I would be comfortable with, and then it went from like a bar and grill to relatively high dining, like very like the people that are showing up are like paying for like good food, good value, so on and so forth, right? Like, and it was a very nice setting. It was out in Big Sur. Shout out to Ventana if I can do that, hopefully. Um, but I suggest look it up. It's very beautiful. The landscape's beautiful. It's up in the mountains. It's fucking gorgeous. And then the chef there, I'm not gonna plug his name just due to privacy. He went to a different restaurant. He invited me over. Completely different setting, and that's when I learned that how do you say it? It was upscale people's food in the sense that like people will enjoy this, and I say it's upscale because there was a lot of thought and processes and like reevaluating and experimenting that went into like every dish, and that was literally what made he was a big aspect in how I learned how to cook, which is why kind of like I started leaning towards curries because he went more towards Mediterranean, which I fucking love, and I did pick up a few things from him, and I'll admit that if he ever hears this, but I doubt it. Uh, um, pero cómo se dice? But yeah, I mean he's literally where my style is at, but There was a few times where I did something. He's like, I didn't fucking teach you that, and he would admit like, oh fuck, like you fucking cranked this out better than I expected. Like, I think when you become a chef, right? Like you kind of like you're focused on cranking out. You focus on business. You focus on the bottom line. You need to make money in order to like make money. So he was like, I would get why he would like forget people's skills or like he needed to be reminded. He just needed to be fed. Like, that's why the importance of family meals there. Because when you have a good cook making family meal, it's a game changer. Like everybody's mood gets lifted up. Um, but there was that. I forgot the point I was trying to make, but oh, the inspiration behind this, right? So like saying like, oh, he was focused on business, cranking stuff out, like tending to every little detail that needed to be done in order to run the restaurant. I kind of wanted to, cause it's funny that now I used to make fun of a lot of the TikTok people and Instagram people that would cook on there, and now I'm like, oh fuck, I'm one of those people. But like, I get it. Like everyone serves a purpose, like in a kitchen, and I kind of wanted to throw in a different aspect of it, cause I feel like showing people how to cook is the sunny side of it, but like I feel like you need to be real sometimes. Like a kitchen isn't always like it's not always smiles and like laughs. It definitely can be, but like there's so much that needs to be put into it, and there needs to be like like a good synergy between your team. Like, and when everybody's efficient and is running like clockwork, then you can like laugh and smile. And I'm making it sound very much like everyone has to be whipped into shape, and then I mean it's a team. Like you guys are trying, like if somebody goes down, like the whole team like needs to recover. So my bad, I'm getting a lot of oh, the cree's fucking me up. Sorry if I get but yeah, I mean, but as far as like my cooking style, my family finds it funny that I don't cook a lot of Mexican food, but I have. I don't know why. I just add my own flair because I did learn the culinary school did teach me a lot of mirepoix stuff, and then it was kind of reinforced with that same chef that I mentioned, and also the sous chef did teach me a lot too. He taught me more like don't rush it, believe in the process, and I still admire him for that. But going back to the food that I normally cook, it honestly varies. Like lately, I've been on a weird like Mediterranean and like curry like kick, which is I mean, and I think it has to do with the whole like how do you say it? Because I'm trying to eat cleaner, and for me, for some reason, I connect fresh Mediterranean food and fresh Indian food very like healthy. But at the same time, I have made very healthy Mexican food, which is like it's very on par because I've noticed the three in unison are very they focus on fresh ingredients or fresh spices, and that's kind of where I understand that they're relatively healthy depending on like it just depends on the amount of oil you use at the end of the day and the amount of salt obviously. Um but yeah, that's the but yeah, like I if I had to pick a cuisine, I eat a lot of rice. So it would be somewhere maybe Asian fusion just cuz I can't define what the fuck I'm trying to say. Um but I also cook pretty fucking good Mexican like fuck, what's that guy's name? Like I'm pretty sure I can make better carne asada than Aaron Sanchez, even though he's like the fucking sponsor of Bud Light and like grilling and shit. And but yeah, I mean I can make a pretty mean carne asada. Maybe like around if I hit once I hit episode 100, I'm gonna share my carne asada marinade recipe. Cause I every time I've made it, I've learned something new about it, and that's where the recipe has gotten better. Which is funny because, like I said, I don't write this shit. Oh no, I didn't say that, but I'll talk about that right now. Share marinade. But what I'm trying to say is so in any so far in the kitchens that I've worked at, And when I cook for myself, I've noticed recipes are in measurements, but you need to finagle it, which is pretty much like you trust your intuition, trust your palate, and not necessarily modify the recipe, but you need to make it taste fucking delicious or else. Because there is no such thing as a flawless recipe just because, how do you say it? Like the constant factor will always change in some way. And like let's say um one day you were able to use a dry and clean blender for like a vinaigrette, and one day you had to like wash it then dry it out by hand, small details, right? Or just because for some reason the vinegar was like a little more vinegary or it's gotten old, less potent, da da da. Like like it's not shit you'll think about, but like it's stuff that I want to share with you guys because um sometimes you'll see like those weird TikTok recipes and shit, and like I'm not gonna call him out, but like there's this one dude where like every time I see a recipe, like he never shows him adding salt. I'm like, you need to add salt, dog. Like especially when you use meat, like you need season that bitch. Don't be a fucking moron. Like, and I understand there's people that use salt substitutes, but like you're fucking seasoning your meat, you know. It's fucking, to quote the chef, it's like wiping your ass. You don't forget to wipe your ass, so why would you forget adding salt to your food? I should make that should be a shirt though. I put it on a plaque. I'll put it behind me. That's the all right. Focus. What other? I thought I had a lot to talk about, and then I kind of gassed out pretty quick. Nah, but I think we're having a good time, right? Thumbs up, chido. That's why we're cool. That's why we're friends. Pero qué iba a decir? I also forget things a lot, but that's why I got my notebook. Pero let's see, what else did I write? Oh, as far as or going back to cooking style. Hopefully I'm finishing all my thoughts because I've noticed I've been jumping around, but I'm going pretty extensive. I would say, I think the reason I can cook without the measurements, like more like a list of ingredients, is because one, I do like understanding the food. So once I understand the final product, I can crank it out. And that's kind of where growing up is what we had more of a family, or had it as like what we ate around the table, right? Like all the recipes that were passed down didn't have like amounts or anything. It was more like you use about this, a little bit of that, and like if you can't cook that way, I understand, but like try to pick it up because cooking is kind of like instinctual, you know, like you know what tastes good, right? So believe in yourself. Just be careful with salt because you can add a little bit of salt when you start, and you can add more salt towards the end. So don't be afraid of season, which is a fucking big part of cooking. And if you don't want to use salt, like that's fine. Like you can use like any of those mixed seasonings. Like I found a pretty decent garlic, salt, and pepper one. Like, and I was surprised that it was salty because usually those things aren't like they're pretty mellow. Pero ya sabe uno, you know, you gotta experiment. God damn, dude, the adrenaline from the workout starting to wear off, unless you can't tell. Yeah, I'm totally having fun with this though. A ver. What else is on my agenda? No, but and it's funny because I do think I do sound a little bit insane sometimes, but like, nah way, I'm having fun. Like that's why it goes back to like the whole point of no mods, because when you're that tired, you start coming up with random ass ideas like a fucking peanut curry, or the crazy idea that I had was like a hot ceviche, which I forgot what it was actually called, but it was like essentially you would throw in all the ingredients except for the cucumber into a pot, saute the shit out of it, no tomatoes. Once you get like everything kind of like sweated and marked, then you hit it with tomatoes, and then like once like chopped tomatoes, And once the juices of the tomato start coming out, then you add your shrimp, and like you're poaching the shrimp, and it becomes like a thick tomato spicy sauce with onions in it. A little bit of avocado. That shit was fire. And I'm trying to recreate it, but I'm like, we're getting there. We're getting there. Because one thing's experimenting at home, one thing's experimenting at work, and sometimes the work ideas work out better because you have the better equipment, like a hotter stove. Do you know? I won't get into that actually. That's triggering me, but which goes back to who would I serve that to? Well, when I make something good, I want to share it with fellow friends, family, and hopefully the chef, which the chef has given me pretty decent feedback about my random ideas, which I'm surprised because usually when you make something for the chef, they usually get annoyed because you're using product. Because, like I said, like it's or pretty sure you know, like every penny counts. So when somebody's cooking something, you'll it's irritating, but at the same time, like you can't be mad. Your team needs to cook, and they better give me fucking something, or else I'm gonna chew them out. And but like everybody is different, you know, like everyone has their eating habits or whatever gets them through the day. Cause comfort food's pretty big in the kitchen, and that's kind of how I gained weight, and that's why I'm kind of on this pseudo fitness journey. But yeah, I mean, hopefully I share more recipes or come up with recipes. Like I had straight up forgotten about the hot ceviche, and honestly, I'm starting to see this more as a personal interview. Pero me vale madre, güey. ¿Sabes por qué? Because there's no mods. Es nomás pinche. A ver lo que cae, a ver cómo cae. You know, a ver qué se te antoja. Like, what is this? Like, if you guys said, like, oh, make something out of this, I'll fucking figure it out. Like, what was the Filipino dish that I saw that looked fucking amazing? It was like, an egg, like, a whole eggplant omelet. And I was like, that shit looks fucking dank, bro. I might make that sometime. And then I'm going to start making a lot of reminders now. Yeah, this is literally the portion of the podcast where I just start talking to myself. And I'm like, okay. But I did say I would eventually make pancit bihon. Which, you know who you are. Or you know who you are, as in you know who you recommended it to me, so that's why I'm calling you out. Shout out. But yeah, shit, I've been craving that shit. I haven't had it in the longest time. Damn, dude. It's funny that the more I talk about food, the more I start like salivating, and I'm hungry. But I did want to bring up the fact that I should start talking about healthier foods, because I am kind of interested in nutrition and how like I'm willing to experiment on myself with foods, and I hope you guys like consider it, because I think there's some proteins that people are scared to eat, like fish or like lamb or anything like that, and it just honestly depends how you cook it, because if you braise lamb, that shit's fucking delicious, and then and it also depends on your diet. I have slowly trickled into like the fitness TikTok, and it's been giving me a lot of hints, like such as how if you're trying to lose weight, you should be eating more white rice, just because it's like it is a grain, but it's not like it's not like pasta, which will like bulk you up, which I need to research more into that. And because I don't know if you guys ever heard of carbo loading, which is like you eat carbohydrates so that the next day you have a lot of energy. But I think that's slowly what this podcast is going to be. Me sharing recipes, fooling around, and just like literally like coming up with these questions, because you'd be surprised the random ass questions you'd hear working on in a kitchen. Like it would be shit like that, like the amount of people that just eat like a giant bowl of pasta and you're like, dude, I'm carbo loading. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? And then meanwhile, there's someone that watched the Chef's Table episode with fuck, I forget the chef's name, but the chef from Millennium. How like the thing that triggered him to becoming a chef was his family relative eating French fries and pickles. which if you haven't had that, fucking clutch. And he explains it, the simple fact it's the balance of a fatty food and something briny, and those coming together, clutch. And then, like, an easy example and a semi-healthy example for a snack would be like making like a bowl of pico de gallo, which, I mean, obviously depends how you make it, but like tomato is citrus, and then you have totopos or tortilla chips, almost like potato, but tortilla chips, which is, they're fatty. Even if you do light oil, like, it's crispy. Like, you needed fat to make it crispy, right? And then so it's the fatty chip and the citrus of this pico de gallo. Or what's another one that I got? I mean, I don't say hummus, but I think the reason hummus hits is because it's the protein. And that's, oh my god. No, I'm just making myself hungry. All right, I'm gonna end the podcast. I mean, I might have another meal before the end of the day, pero thank you for listening to another episode. Hope you guys continue coming every Monday. You can reach out to me. Damn, dude, I ran out of breath. Dude, curry's fucking me up. I don't know. Like, I think it's hitting my gut now. Fuck. I'm gonna sleep good tonight. All right. You can reach out to me on Instagram at adept_apron, or you can reach out to the podcast on Twitter at no_mods009. And you can hit me with anything you find interesting, any recipes, any food ideas. I'm willing to try most. No, you know what? To stay open-minded, I'll try anything. Because I've even had cuttlefish, which is fucking delicious. Despite people saying something else. But yeah, and on that note, sharpen your knives. Be careful when you cut foods. And make sure you tuck the fingers. Tuck your paw. Or use your knuckles. Or cut yourself and find out how to use a knife. But on that note, hope you guys have a great Monday. And, damn, this is a long sign out. Okay, just say it. Hope you guys have a great day. Reach out to the podcast, or you can reach out to me with any food ideas or concerns you got. Or any questions. It's no mods. Like, let's have a conversation with you. Like, can we get a scene? And on that note, have a great Monday. And a great rest of your week.